Shannon felt the heat rising to her face, and she clenched her fists as the customer yelled and swore at her over the phone. "I'm sorry, ma'am," she said, trying to stay professional. "As I told you, it's against company policy, and I can't issue you a refund under these circumstances." "Well, I want to speak to your supervisor," the customer said sharply. Shannon was relieved to let her boss Vivian handle the difficult woman. She dialed her boss's extension and gave her the rundown of the situation. When she was finished, she took off her headset and looked down at her shaking hands. Her friend Kathy in the next station gave her a sympathetic look. "Sounds like you got a rough call," she observed. "It was," Shannon said, sighing. "I endured 4 long minutes of insults, and then she went ballistic after I denied her claim." She put her headset back on and went back to work. But after a few minutes, her boss came to her desk. "What the hell happened there?" Vivian asked, her voice sounding irritated. "The customer said you gave her a hard time." "I was just doing my job," Shannon said defensively. She repeated the details of the situation, but Vivian dismissed her explanation. Instead, her boss blamed her for escalating the issue with the client. Shannon felt the heat rise in her body again. It was clear that her boss sided with the customer, and the lack of support caused something inside of her to snap. Her low salary barely covered the abuse she received from customers, and without the support of management, her call center job was worthless. "I quit," she said, and stormed back to her desk to retrieve her belongings. But when she got in her car a few minutes later, reality hit her. What had she done? She had lost her temper and quit a stable job that paid her bills. Was she crazy? Just then, her phone rang, and she absently answered it. It was her mother. "Your sister is pregnant," her mother announced, barely able to contain herself. "Good for her," Shannon said, forgetting her dilemma for a second. "I've always wanted to be an aunt." The conversation should have continued pleasantly, but she soon regretted taking the call. Her mother turned on her and demanded to know when she was getting married. "I'm not getting any younger," she said, her tone chiding. "I want a grandchild from you too." Shannon hated that her mother always made her feel inadequate. She ended the call and sat in her car for a long time, contemplating the many stressful things in her life. By the time she returned home, she was tired and hungry. She texted her boyfriend Blake about her job loss and hoped for a sympathetic ear when she got home. But when she entered her apartment door, she was greeted with the sound of gunfire and loud music. Her eyes fell to the empty pop cans and dirty dishes scattered on the coffee table and floor. And in the middle of the mess was Blake playing video games on the couch. "Didn't you get my text?" she demanded. "Oh, I didn't know you texted me," Blake said, his eyes still glued to the television screen. Suddenly, Shannon saw red. Blake had lost his job 4 months ago, but all he did was play video games. He didn't care about her or how they would pay for groceries and rent. They exchanged angry words and fought bitterly over things from the past and the present. Finally, Shannon had enough. "I'm going to Kathy's," she announced. She arranged to stay with her friend for a few days. Truthfully, she wanted to hide away from her problems. Her mind raced with worry and fear for the future until one morning, Kathy invited her to do yoga in the park. She hadn't practiced yoga in a long time and was persuaded to do the exercise in order to calm her nerves. She felt better after doing the stretches. Unfortunately, the good feelings didn't last, and a range of negative emotions overwhelmed her when she checked her phone. Her mother had left multiple messages, demanding to know why she hadn't called back. Her sister also called to express her worry, and to top it off, she hadn't heard from Blake. As she and her friend walked back to the car, Shannon noticed an older woman meditating under a tree. Her face was relaxed, and there was a blissful smile on her lips. She was the picture of serenity, and Shannon was envious of her. She was certain that the woman had achieved inner peace. What she'd give to experience a similar peace. 10 minutes later, they returned to Kathy's apartment, and by this time, Shannon was obsessed with the idea of inner peace. Her friend had many books about meditation and mindfulness on her bookshelf, and she plowed through them. One book suggested that most of her problems were irrational and were created in her head. This made sense, but the knowledge had no effect in reducing the loud critical voice in her brain, nor did it stem her anxieties. The next morning, Shannon returned to the park with Kathy. After they finished their yoga session, she spotted the older woman again. "I'll meet you at the car," she told her friend. She then approached the woman. "Excuse me," she said. The woman paused and smiled at her, a questioning look in her eyes. "I saw you meditating yesterday," Shannon said, suddenly feeling awkward. She explained about her quest to be free from her troubles. "What's your secret about obtaining inner peace?" "What is inner peace?" the stranger asked. Shannon paused a moment as she searched for an answer. She had never really pondered this question. "It's a stillness in your mind," she said finally. "It's when you're free from your chaotic thoughts." The woman nodded as she considered Shannon's words. "Who creates this stillness?" she asked. Shannon furrowed her brows. "Me?" she said. The woman nodded, agreeing with her. "And who creates these chaotic thoughts?" There was only one source where those thoughts originated. "I created them," she answered with a frown. "Well, if you created them, then you can undo them." She gave Shannon a gentle, encouraging smile before continuing. "If you undo the negative things you create, the things that cause you trouble, then you could find your inner peace." Shannon blinked, and before she could thank the woman for her words of wisdom, she was gone. Shannon slowly walked back to the car and pondered the conversation she just had. Up until now, she never understood the power she wielded. She was the creator of her own reality. She was the one who controlled her emotions, her thoughts, and behaviors. It occurred to her as well that she was the one who had fed into the drama in her life. However, all wasn't lost, since she also had the ability to stop her own suffering. Many months passed, and her understanding grew. With her new sense of power, she found that she was no longer a slave to her thoughts. Shannon continued to practice meditation and yoga, and her mind became clear with each passing day. And it was in this quiet space that she received the clarity that she needed to undo the negative influences in her life and relationships. In the end, the stranger was right. She had the potential to create the stillness within herself and find the inner peace she longed for. What did you guys think of the story? Please comment in the comment section below. I can't wait to read your answers and discussions. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to get the latest stories to warm your heart. Until next time, bye!